Hi everyone, Lazy Fire here. Welcome to the Hate the Player podcast. We took a week off last week for the Super Bowl because
What a shitty game. No, it was a really, really good game.
Yeah, well, I haven't not heard about it every single fucking day this week because when you live in New England, there are certain people around you. It's basically like the Bears super fans from the SNL episodes in the 80s.
How about them Pats, huh?
Yeah, basically that. And instead of like when they drift off and they think about food and Mike Ditka, it's Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. There is nothing else in their heads but football stuff. There's actually, like, they had a discussion this week about how many ways the NFL had personally, like, thought to screw over the Pats in the last 20 years.
Oh,
Kid you not. Like, this whole, like, oh yeah, and then they made the Colts lose to the Steelers so the Steelers could beat the Patriots, take them out of the AFC Championship. It's like, are you serious? You can't be, you have to be making that up. That can't be a personally held theory. It's like, hey, who did 9/11? Well, obviously Roger Goodell was trying to mess with the Patriots, and, the Patriots won the football, it just goes on and on.
Fucking Roethlisberger's the one who made the vaccines cause autism.
Yeah, oh, God. Oh. Yeah. Basically that sort of shit. Every fucking week. Every day of my life. Now that football season's over, they've switched to talking about 2.5 Men, actually. So, I know a lot more about that show than I need to. Because they're middle-aged old people, and they find network TV hilarious. It'll happen to you. You're gonna wake up one day and just be like, oh, sweet, Friends is on Netflix? And, watch the entire thing
I fucking hate Friends.
Yeah, no, give it a few years, you'll love it.
No.
Big Bang Theory. Bang Theory is going to be the one, I think.
I've hung out this long.
Yeah, I don't know. My wife,
although,
when she was unemployed, watched all the way through it.
Although I will have to say, I do really enjoy Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I have not seen that, but I also don't have TV anymore.
Gotcha. It's surprisingly funny. Like, Andy Samberg is kind of hit or miss for me sometimes, but it's pretty genuinely funny.
Does he go around strangling black people?
No.
Oh, well, how is that a New York Police Department?
But it's also got like Chelsea Peretti, Terry Crews, that one guy who was, do you remember Superbad?
Yeah.
Do you remember, the creepy guy who took them to the party?
Yeah.
Who got like his ass kicked? He's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's really funny in that. But no, it's surprisingly really good for like a network TV show.
Yeah. So as everyone should probably be aware at this point, Arnold is more or less dropped off the face of the earth. Yeah, there we go. He is not here despite that awesome invitation by Three Toes. So it's just he and I still. Someday we're gonna have to do like what Limp Bizkit did back in the early 2000s when Wes Borland left the band. We're gonna go to guitar centers around the country and audition new podcast people.
Well, I mean, Dreckens is of course next up on the call list.
Yeah, I don't know if he wants to talk to me anymore. So I fucking came in and explained and like posted a podcast and explained that he was high as shit on ketamine, and I don't think he was super happy about that statement.
Uh-oh. So
I might bring CQC in possibly next week so he and I can chat about the Hardline beta a bit, because that's going to end as well. By the time this goes up, it'll have ended. But
so speaking of that, like I guess you've seen the whole thing about the Reload animation Easter eggs.
Yes, they're
that
ridiculous.
Is fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's
like
pretty
there needs to be something you can change in your config to make to where it's at your reload every single time.
It could get in the way, like the third arm thing and the teleporting mag. You might not be able to see all the screen.
I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Not in the least.
It looks neat at the very least. There's a few different things in there, like if you spot a cop when you're close up, you'll flip
the bird. Yeah. That definitely needs to be every single time.
And if you hit Q at some donuts, your guy will point and go, "Delicious donut spotted." But that was in the first beta too. They changed a few different things in this beta, but we can talk about that in a little bit. You were telling me before we started that you're watching some Dying Light stuff and some Stranded Deep, which is something I haven't heard of.
Okay, so of course it's an early access game on Steam, just like 99% of all games on Steam. Mm-hmm. It's a survival game, but not a zombie survival game. And I want to say that this, and I meant to look this up beforehand, but I want to say it's a sequel, and that there was like a Stranded game beforehand, but maybe not. But it's called Stranded Deep, and it's basically Castaway the game.
Huh.
You're on like a desert, or not a desert, but a deserted island. Very, very small deserted island. And you basically have to survive. You're given, I think at the start, you're given a water bottle, and it has like some water in it, and you constantly have to keep up your hunger and thirst. You know, you press a button and you look at your wristwatch, and it tells you, your health, your hunger, and your thirst. And also, I'll get into this a little bit, but your arm is like an indicator of stuff that's wrong with you.
Oh.
So because that's what you can look at and see. First of all, the game's still pretty buggy, but it's been getting a good bit of attention from some YouTubers. So that's been kind of like a kick in the pants to the developers, because there was some stuff that was kind of game breaking at the start.
Yeah.
And with all these people like watching these videos and seeing it, like they turned around a hotfix like really, really quick for it. It's by a company called Beam Team Games, BEAM.
Okay.
So you're on this island, you can climb palm trees to get green coconuts, but you have to find something to whack them open, or you can throw them up in the air and hope they land hard enough to break open.
Huh.
And then it's a hard coconut, and you have to hit it again to make it drinkable, so you can drink coconut water. Then you hit some more to break it open, so you can eat it. It's got crafting elements. If you start out hoping you can find sticks and rocks on your island to make like a crude axe, to where you can chop down the trees, make more sticks. You do have your life raft and a paddle. Like, you definitely start with those, because it's a whole string of islands. You see other islands off in the distance, so you paddle to other islands to find more stuff. Problem is, though, if you find a bunch of stuff on one island and decide to leave to go somewhere else, it's very easy to get lost and be hard to tell like which island you came from.
Yeah.
But and I don't know if it'll be like this in the final product, but it seems like a few people have found out that if you just keep going, it's almost like you're on a small world. Like you'll come back around to the other island, because it's not like Minecraft where it's going to infinitely generate new terrain.
Right.
Because that would just be a huge memory sink.
Yeah.
And it does look pretty good. The graphics are pretty good. A little buggy here and there. Like, you only, when the sun's going down, you can see the shadow of the axe you're holding, like on the ground, but you don't see the shadow of your arm or your body or anything. So it's just like a floating shadow of an axe on the ground. For a while, the raft would bug out and would just disappear and drop you in the middle of the ocean. But that's since been fixed. The problem is there's sharks in the game.
Oh. And
you get little like musical clues, like a dramatic orchestra hit when there's a shark nearby.
Oh. Right.
Some of them will, like tiger sharks, will somewhat attack you. Great whites will not hesitate to just completely kill you. Huh. There's sunken ships that you dive down to look for supplies, like medical supplies. I think you start with a lighter as well, so you can craft fire pit and cook food. Because if you eat, aside from coconuts, like say you craft a crude spear, you go in the water and you stab some small fish. Some of them, if you just eat like raw, they're poisonous and it'll make you sick. Like, so you have to cook the food. You can find buckets in the shipwrecks and collect seawater and boil it to make fresh water, even though that's not really a thing. I want to say you can also collect rainwater with them, so you have fresh water and you don't have to drink coconut milk the entire time. So it's just a really cool, kind of pretty well thought out survival game. You can build a hut, even though there's no real purpose to it. You can build a bed so you can sleep during the night and kind of skip the daytime, even though unless you put a fire near the bed, it completely drains your hunger and thirst overnight. You can find a compass, which makes navigating a lot easier. You can find motor parts to where you can ultimately craft them back together and build a raft and put a boat motor on your raft. So you can zip around in some of the islands. And I think right now it's bugged out to where it never runs out of gas.
Oh.
But you do find jerry cans along the way as well. You can find little air canisters that'll help you dive deeper because you don't want to drown, obviously. It's kind of cool as you dive deeper and spend more time underwater, you start to get severe tunnel vision. Everything starts to black out around you until ultimately you drown.
Huh.
But going back to the arm, which is hilarious. Yeah, anything bad that happens to you, you can see it on your arm. So you can climb a tree to grab coconuts. If you fall out of the tree, it'll a message will pop up that says, "I think I broke something." And you bring up your wristwatch, and your arm is crooked and mangled, like you broke your arm. If you get bitten by a shark, you look at your arm and it's just got a huge gash in it and it's all red. If you get too close to a sea urchin, you get poisoned. And you look at your arm and you've got all these weird welts all over it. I was watching Generic B play, and at one point he had all of that stuff wrong with him, so he would just constantly be bringing up this brutally mangled arm onto the screen. He's just man, my arm isn't looking too good. And then as the more stuff that's wrong with you, you start to lose health, and your hunger and your thirst drain more quickly. And the only way you can regain health is by having full hunger and full thirst.
Yeah.
But if it's constantly trying to... Basically, he was having to eat and drink constantly just to try and keep his health level. So, you find antibiotics to treat the poison, you find bandages to treat the shark bite, you find morphine to cure the broken arm somehow. You find vitamins to help with, feeling sick if you eat raw food. Mm-hmm. So it's just really a cool exploration survival game. Kind of like a first-person Don't Starve set in the Caribbean.
Neat.
With sharks and so whales, there's humpback whales in the game, which I don't think go into warm water at all, but for some reason they're in this Caribbean archipelago or whatever it is, and they're still bugged to where they'll basically swim on land. So they'll swim through the island. And if you look up his videos, it's pretty hilarious. He's got a whale that's always near his island, named George. And anything you lay on the ground, and it kind of has the Half-Life 2 interaction to where you can, quote, pick up an object where it's not in your hand, but you're obviously picking it up and moving around and can throw it and replace it, whatnot. So when the whale comes through and swims up onto the island, basically all that stuff that he's thrown onto the ground gets picked up on the back of the whale, and it drags it out to sea if he doesn't run and pick it up real quick. So the whales are the biggest trolls in the game. They just come by and just fuck your shit up. At one point it drug his raft 200 yards offshore of his island. He had to swim out to get it and not get eaten by sharks. You can kill the sharks, but I don't think you can kill the whales, at least not yet. But it takes a long time to kill the sharks.
Really?
But apparently the shark meat, just eating one piece of cooked shark meat gives you full health, so there's a big reward for it.
Yeah. No,
but it's crazy because I keep remembering other stuff that's in the game. It's really cool. If you're out, paddling to an island, a fog might come and set in, and you won't be able to see shit in front of you, and you can get completely turned around and completely lost. It's pretty cool. I need to pick it up. It is Mac compatible.
Oh, cool.
Praise be to Jobs. So I've been thinking about actually picking it up and not just watching it, but it'll be interesting to see what the final product looks like. It seems like it's actually getting kind of popular.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think a lot of people are, when they look at the survival games that are out there, there's so many of them. I mean, in the wake of Minecraft and then
Right, yeah.
everything else that came after it that was like, here's our survival game, craft things in limited resource environment, and whatever it was. There's very few that take that sort of viewpoint to it, putting you out in the middle of an island chain is kind of a different take on it. Right. Although I would say that the Survival Kids games from way back when are very similar to that kind of idea, but it sounds like it's not really structured that way.
No, and I think ultimately, I don't think it's in the game now, but I think the ultimate end goal for the finished product is you'll be able to get rescued, because you can find a flare gun and flares and like a whistle. I want to say you can do something with the fire to kind of create a smoke signal to try and be rescued, but I don't think that's in yet. I've been meaning to kind of look up I'm pretty sure there's a developer's blog for it, but I haven't really looked at it yet.
Yeah, well, it'll be neat to see how it goes.
Right.
The other game I think is kind of like that is the Long Dark. I don't know if you've seen any of that.
Yeah, I saw that was my porn name, by the way. I saw like a brief like preview Let's Play of it when it first got to beta. I guess I don't know. Is it still in beta?
I don't know. I think it's still early access. I bought it for $10 on the Steam sale. And I am not very good at that game.
Really?
It's fucking brutal. Like,
aren't you like constantly being hunted by wolves?
There are wolves in the environment, and they will follow your ass. At first, I thought they only came out at night, but no, they're out during the day too. And if you want to go in like an area where they're in, they will follow you. But you're very limited in how much you can sprint. And you can't even stay outside that long. You have to get inside.
Oh, that's right. You're constantly fighting, like, warmth.
Yeah, you're constantly looking for warmth and water and everything else. Now, the nice thing is that you can basically scrounge for wood and snow and, in that case, water by, like, searching around. But your fire can only take so much, and, like, it can only turn so much water or snow into water. It can only turn so much of that water into potable water. And there's not really a lot of food. You can hunt down deer if you really want to, but you need to have a gun if you want to do that effectively. Right. But there's like maybe a couple guns and maybe a couple of magazines of ammo in the entire game. And like if you go uphill, you waste more energy. You have to eat more. You have to drink more. It's this insane, like, good luck motherfucker game. So I played a few minutes of that, and I really couldn't get myself back into it. It's not like, oh, I don't want to lose or I don't want to die. It's that I have no fucking clue how I'm supposed to make anything close to a comfortable living in that game. Like, It doesn't feel like one of those games you just simply win. It feels like one of those games that you just do a little bit better maybe every time if you get some luck.
Yeah, because I remember one thing, and I'm sure it's different now, but I haven't looked at the game in so long. I remember with Don't Starve, like, eventually, without too much effort, you got to the point to where it was like, okay, I know how to, like, perpetually subsist in this game. Like, I go to these berry bushes every so often, I go here to get these supplies every so often, and you can get by, like, indefinitely.
It looks like that has changed a lot since even I played it last, which was probably when I first bought it.
Right.
That's how. Once again, I buy all these fucking games on Steam sale, and then I look at them, and I'm like, I haven't played that in a while. Oh, hey, there's a Star Wars Humble Bundle. I'm going to play Republic Commando, a 10-year-old game that I played 10 years ago. which is exactly what I did part of this weekend. That game's still pretty good. Anyways, the thing with it is that, like with Don't Starve, they changed a lot of how stuff works. So your sanity is a way more important thing now, and like the visions and the voices you heard can now attack your ass, and you'll end up fighting like your fucking dreams and nightmares. If you stay in one spot too long, the game sics wolves on you. That will probably kill you if you stay anywhere near where you were before. What else was there? There's a few different things it'll throw at you that will just discourage you from trying to get set up in any one spot and make you kind of move around a little bit.
Oh, wow.
I think that's a really good move on its part.
But you think maybe The Long Dark takes that to maybe too extreme of a level?
You know, I think I'm just bad at the game. I think that might be a big part of it. I go into it, you know, when I first started playing the game, I thought I had to find a hatchet before I could take any wood out. And I'm like, I get the hatchet, and then I spent 10 minutes, kid you not, trying to equip it. Go, what the fuck? And then I hit the tab button, and it's like, do you want to scrounge for wood? It'll take an hour. You fucking kidding me? Are you for fucking real? The game, there's, it's only sandbox mode. I think there's like a single player beta mode to it now. But there's no like tutorial mission or anything like that. It's just, it plops you in the middle of the Canadian wilderness and it tells you to survive. So, good luck, you motherfucker. Good fucking luck. Good. Okay, I don't know what all these buttons do. WASD seems to move me, so I'm halfway to competency. And like that's as far as you might get. So it's a whole thing, and like here's the big thing in The Long Dark: your clothing degrades over time, and I mean quickly.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, like you'd find some wool socks, but then after a while, they're no longer worn for you.
Yeah. Right, so you're basically like walking around in jeans that have fallen to pieces, so they're now like Daisy Dukes. You're just like struggling to survive in the Canadian wilderness. Wolves are chasing you. You saw a deer yesterday, but you couldn't hit it with your gun. Now you're out of ammo. It's like, you know, it's a pretty fucking desperate situation. And I can appreciate a game trying to approximate that sort of thing. Just how difficult it would be for anyone to really handle that thing unless they're very well prepared. I really do want to go back to it someday, that and Don't Starve. And I bought Space Engineers during the sale, and I have not wrought any ounce of fun out of that game so far. So I feel kind of bad because people keep telling me it's a pretty good game, it's pretty fun. You just build shit, blah, blah, blah. Like, I can't build anything that looks decent. I'm sorry. I don't know how to build things in this game or why I want to do that, but whatever. You know, there are games I definitely want to go back to and have fun with, so maybe someday I'll have that sort of drive to go back and play The Long Dark.
Right.
But you said you were also watching some Dying Light stuff.
I am, and as much as I hate to say it, like I think this is the one zombie game I could actually get into.
And it's got parkour in it. It's made by the people who did Dead Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got just enough sandboxy aspect to draw me in. The story seems somewhat compelling. I mean, it's the Let's Play I'm watching is kind of, I wouldn't say it's slow going, but they're not rushing through the story, it seems. But they're not also like taking a ton of side missions. It's just kind of just playing around and being kind of bad at the game and seeing how it goes. But no, it seems interesting. I like that you have all these cool maneuvers that you can learn with a skill tree, and kind of divided up against 3 different skill sets: your agility, your survivor skills, and your physical like power skills. The weapons crafting is pretty cool. Being able to take a a pipe wrench and strap a blade to it and then put some electricity on it. Like it's have you been watching anything on it?
No. I've only been seeing that it has horrible PC performance.
Really? Because I'm watching someone play on PC and it actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, apparently, well, the requirements for the game are, when the game came out, the requirements for it were pretty high already, so people picked it up and played it, and they're like, this is a terrible port. Now, the thing is that people also went in and did the same fucking PC Master Race thing they do with everything else, and they looked at the comparison of PC lowest settings versus PS4 settings, and they're like, haha, pixels and Windows, take that, PS4, and that kind of turned me off that people were immediately doing that. And I've reveled in that at times, like with Metal Gear Solid 4, when or not Metal Gear Solid 4, sorry, Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, when someone took the PC screenshots on the lowest, and they're like, the guy has a round head. And they showed the PS4 screenshot of the same scene, and the guy had a triangle head. They're like, that isn't right. You know? Those are the moments I can enjoy. But when you're like, a window, take that, motherfuckers, is like, you're losing me here. So I haven't really been paying a lot of attention to it, but you're making it sound kind of interesting. It does sound like a ramped up Dead Island.
It seems like what Dead Island kind of should have been. To a brief kind of synopsis of the story, you're a government agent for this agency called the GRE, which I always just think of the grad school exam.
Yeah, you're here to test the zombies' competencies.
Exactly, you're here to administer the worst vocabulary test of all time. But it's the city you're in is based on Brazil, but it's called Haran. So I think it's supposed to be somewhere in the Middle East. But basically the city's been infested with a zombie outbreak. It's completely quarantined. You can't get out of the city. There's some rogue government agent who's become like a warlord. You're trying to track him down. There's a whole other faction called the Tower that's like trying to help people and just trying to survive. And your loyalties are split between the three, between the government agency, the rogue guy, and then the people in the tower who are the obvious protagonists. So you're, at least at this point, you're not really sure which direction you're going. Obviously, the government's kind of portrayed as, or the government agency is kind of portrayed as uncaring and cold, and they just want you to get your job done. Get them. You're searching for some fucking file. Of course, you got to get us the file, Crane. Blah blah blah. But no, it's really really interesting. And of course, going to the Left 4 Dead kind of mechanic to where there are different types of zombies, and further on in the game, you come across a spitter, you come across like a guy who explodes like a boomer. All different types. You really should look into it. It looks pretty interesting. Like I kind of wish I could play it.
Neat. Yeah, it does sound kind of neat. Once again, Steam sale will probably be the determining factor in if I buy this game or not. Hey, listen, we're very close to the spring mini sale, so maybe I'll have this thing. But yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff coming out in the next couple months, I think, but I still have to work through my fucking backlog, and then I just added a bunch of Star Wars games to it, so another zombie game is not really in the mix. I don't know how many Star Wars games, by the way, because I already played through the first two KOTOR games, or the only two KOTOR games, which I got. I've never played Dark Forces, so I'm interested to see how that goes. Have you ever played Jedi Outcast?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's in the Humble Bundle. Did 12 Star Wars games thing, so that's in there. Empires at War is in there. I'm fucking horrible at RTSs, but I always wanted to play that game, and I also spent $9 on the deluxe edition during the Steam sale, just because I was like, hey, Star Wars RTS. I have good memories of the RTS they released that was based on what is it? The one Age of Empires. They had an Age of Empires Star Wars fucking game. It was actually pretty fucking baller. But yeah, I bought all these games, $12, $13 or something like that, and I got like 12 games, and there's still more to be announced. And I've never played the Force Unleashed games, so I got those too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember those looking amazing when they were first being, kind of teased to the public, and then it seemed like everyone hated them.
Yeah, I remember there was a guy we played Call of Duty with who was fucking pumped as shit for Force Unleashed 2. They're going to fix all the problems from the first game. They're going to put in more story. They're going to have better action and force powers. And he was southern as hell. And so he actually went out and fucking waited at the midnight launch for Force Unleashed 2 in a Jedi costume. It was like released in November, October or something like that. And even in Mississippi where he was living, it was fucking cold as shit. As far as I remember, maybe that was his Call of Duty thing, I don't know. But basically he came back a week later and it's like, how is Force Unleashed 2? And he's, shut the fuck up about Force Unleashed 2. I don't want to talk about it. You couldn't get him to say a fucking word. So I don't have high hopes for it. But, that's the wonderful thing about the Humble Bundle is you can get a bunch of games that you have maybe dubious quality, going on there, but...
Well, I mean, Jedi Outcast is worth it on its own. I played so much of that game when I was in college. Like, I was so fucking good at the multiplayer in that game. Like, having lightsaber duels, I would just wreck kids in that game. It was so much fun.
I'm trying to remember if is Outcast the one where you're Kyle Katarn and you start off in a first-person shooter, but then it switches to being able to switch between first-person and third-person Jedi stuff?
Right, yeah.
Oh,
and,
I did play that.
And basically, as soon as you get access to your lightsaber, there's no reason to not use it and just be in third-person the entire rest of the game.
Yeah.
So it's Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, but technically it's Star Wars Dark Forces...
Like
4 I think? Yeah. Star Wars Dark Forces 4, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It's at least Dark Forces 3.
Yeah.
Because I think Dark Forces 2 was the first Jedi Knight, maybe.
No, I think Dark Forces 2 is just Dark Forces 2, and then the Jedi Outcast was Jedi Academy 1. And
No, Jedi Academy was just kind of a mini expansion to Outcast.
You're making the Star Wars talk is hurting my brain.
Hold on, I'm actually looking this up.
Okay, I do want a definitive answer on this. Please, Wikipedia, help me.
My only hope. And God, I played the shit out of Dark Forces too.
Where the fuck is Arnold when we need him? This is like the one time that we actually fucking go, oh, Arnold would be helpful. He's not here. Not fucking here. Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna mark that down for the replacement. Be there when I need you. Oh, by the way, Basics of CQC is probably starting a Daikatana LP at some point.
Oh, God.
He was recording episodes last night, but he Nebrios, Strangelove, and I recorded videos for Battle Los Angeles. And by videos, I mean 2, because the game is literally 50 minutes long, has 3 weapons, and has, I kid you not, what look to be children's watercolors in place of cutscenes.
Okay, so Jedi Knight was Dark Forces 2.
Okay.
And God, I remember I was in a tournament for that game in my local shopping mall in 1997 when it first came out. And I got to like the semifinals of it. I fucking remember that game like crazy. And looking back at just the screenshots of this game, it looks so bad.
Yeah.
But granted, it was 1997.
Yeah, that's true. I remember Jedi Outcast. I had that on my, I kid you not, GameCube, because I did not have a PC. And there is like me and my brothers would play it because you could play it split screen with bots, right? And one of the things you could do was the force choke. But if you put the like abilities into it, you could force choke somebody and like pick them up into the air.
Oh yeah,
and then
slam them around and yeah.
Yeah. So we'd pick this one map where there were these bridges over like an infinite void, and all you do is like find the computer controlled guy, force grab him, and then like bring him over the bridge and then just drop him down. Or you'd like force grab somebody and then throw a lightsaber into him.
Oh yeah, that was the best.
The most fucking ridiculous shit you can think of was just what you would do.
I remember Jedi Outcast, and I think Jedi Academy had it too, to where you open up the console and there was a command to where you basically turned jibbing on, to where you could blow off body parts of the stormtroopers. When you did your lightsaber throw and held it there, it would just spin around and basically just like dice them up. They would just become a cloud of body parts.
Oh, that's great.
Just fall to the ground.
That's pretty great. I hope.
And you could also change the color of your lightsaber. So I had a purple lightsaber way before Mace Windu did. I'm going to go ahead and say that.
Take that, Samuel L. Jackson, wanting a unique lightsaber. So yeah, I'm kind of excited about playing those games because I don't have a great memory of Jedi Outcast. I never played Dark Forces, so I want to do that and a couple other games. But I played Republic Commando for a little while, and that game aged kind of badly in the menu because it starts off, I kid you not, it's 640 by 480 or something like that.
Oh
god. And so you try to like move your mouse, and it stretches whatever reason, it stretches the image across your screen, but then you have a 640 by 480 image. So your mouse like flies all over the place the second you try to move it. I thought about plugging a controller in simply so I could navigate the menu to get to the options and put it into a real person resolution, which turned out to be 1600 by 900, which not really a real person resolution. So I had to fucking change the values in the config file for the game so I could get it into an actual ass resolution that wasn't just made up by this game. But once I fixed that shit, and by the way, you have to fix that every single time you launch the game, so I'm not happy. It's actually still pretty fun. Like, the idea of having really light Rainbow Six elements in a first-person shooter that happens to be Star Wars based is pretty neat. And the fact that, there's a lot of really cool atmospheric touches, because this game came out in 2005. That's around the time where like Metroid Prime was coming out and all these other games where atmosphere was a big thing. You literally have visor modes, and you press buttons to switch your standard gun into different guns. So it's basically Metroid Prime. But it's pretty fun. And the characters are good and everything like that, so I'm playing that and having a good time with it.
Nice.
Have you actually been playing anything? Or
No, not really. Just some fucking trivia game on my iPad. That's about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't have time to play games. I just watch them. It's gotten so sad.
Yeah, whatever. I played the Hardline beta this weekend before we sign off here. I gotta say, the Hardline beta, there are 3 game modes available in the Hardline beta. I literally have 6 seconds of Conquest, which is your basic Battlefield game,
right?
Right.
Whatever.
I have more minutes than I wish to acknowledge or have exist of me playing Hotwire, which is a game where instead of having conquest flags, you have cars, trucks, and vans that are your conquest points. And you take those, and you drive around in them, and if you maintain speed, like the movie Speed, you will hold on to the point, and your team will get tickets, or you'll drain the enemy tickets if you have more of these points in the enemy team. Now, there should be noted that you can pick up RPGs from the back of sedans after you buy a perk. So basically, everyone's going to have an RPG after a time, and maybe more importantly, these explosives are pretty much everywhere in Hotwire. So you have breaching charges, which are basically C4. You have laser trip mines. You have grenade launchers, which are actually engineer equipment now. And because there's no real air vehicles besides the Little Bird and the transport chopper. That's it. So there's not really, you don't like start off with a rocket launcher for the engineer class. You start off with a grenade launcher, which is a little different, I know. But like going anywhere in that game basically means you are going to get pelted with RPGs and grenades if you drive one of those vehicles, or someone's going to. There's actually something you can buy, a piece of equipment that you can basically strap a bomb to a vehicle. And if people drive anywhere in that vehicle, it explodes. So you can basically booby trap every vehicle that you can come across if you wanted to. So,
which of course you want to.
The only way you could effectively drive away with any of the conflict points after a couple minutes is to blow them up and wait for them to respawn so you know they're not booby trapped anymore. Like that's all you could really do. And the number of people like on bridges or rooftops with some form of explosive or another was just unfun to play that mode. Like you basically, I tried to play it driving around, and I just couldn't do it because you're just like, oh well, I drove 10 feet and someone hit me with an RPG, so of course, or someone threw a breaching charge down, or someone hit me with a rocket or a grenade or anything like that. It just wasn't fun. I did play Heist, which is one of the new game modes. It's sort of like Rush, almost, in the Bad Company series. And
yeah.
So it's different though. So the idea is that because they're the cops and robbers theme to this whole thing. You ever play Brink?
No, but I remember it.
Okay. Well, in Brink, you had this thing where you had security and you had the rebels, and the rebels they'd go through these processes trying to get through to this objective, and then they'd take this point thing back to their area so they could leave and win the match, right?
Right.
So it basically works like that. As the robbers, you're trying to get into the bank vault and grab these 3 bags of cash and then bring them to 3 different points. As the cops, you're trying to defuse the charges on the bank vault or on the roof or on the back door, and you're trying to stop them from grabbing the cash, almost like a capture the flag thing, actually. I guess is probably the better way to put it. And that is actually a lot of fun because you get this really, you have one team that's trying to like run and gun, and the other team's trying to slow things down and keep things centered in this one area, and you have people preparing for, I'm going to try to get the bag over here, so I'm going to go clear out this area, and then other people are trying to rush over there to stop them from clearing it out so they can, hold on to it so the other team can't come that way. It's actually kind of neat. I actually like that a lot, that there's something that really plays on that cops and robbers sort of theme.
Right.
But I don't have a lot of faith that the game's going to launch with, like, good net code or not crashing. Though other people have insisted that this game will be awesome at launch and Star Wars Battlefront will be terrible at launch because I don't know why. I really don't. No one's been able to explain why, but they've said that it will suck at launch. I don't know. So, it's pretty fun. The weird thing about that game is that they took LMGs out and they're now like battlefield pickups. You can go find them on, like, in the map. But your support class is now called like an operator or something like that, or enforcer. He starts off with shotguns, and then he gets, you can buy battle rifles, which are things like the Scar, but
right.
You can switch them to semi-auto mode, so they work almost like a DMR. They're actually pretty fun to play with. The shotgun, the 870 Magnum that both sides start off with, is fucking great. Like, it just tears through motherfuckers. There's a bunch of different melee weapons in the game, and if you pick certain ones do about 75% damage. So you run faster with them out, so people will select those things and just run around swinging them at people. And like one guy on my team the other night, CQC, actually had like 17 kills and 4 deaths doing that.
Wow.
Like, it was ridiculous. There's tasers and shit like that, so you can tase people and then interrogate them and find out where everyone is. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. I just don't trust on this game to act on it. And I really, really worry that people are going to be like, hey, we're going to play Hotwired all the fucking time when the game comes out. As if it's a good game mode. Like, if you go into the hardline thread, it's 90% like, Hotwired is awesome, it's great. It's like, no.
Well,
sucks.
it's probably just the fact that it's what's new.
Yeah.
Like, it was. I feel I can't think of any good examples, but I feel it's always that way with new game modes. Like, everyone plays them from the start, like when they first come out, because it's what's new and exciting, and everyone's kind of sick of just basic, conquest. But ultimately, it'll just revert back to the classic game modes.
Yeah. But so far, people have said this feels like $20 DLC, not a full game. It feels like it's the most refreshing Battlefield in years. So, like, the opinions are all over the place. Honestly, the people who say it feels like $20 DLC, you're playing a goddamn 3-map, 3-game mode beta. Don't fucking come into the beta that gives you... By the way, you have access... If you have enough money and you rank up enough times, you could actually buy all the guns that are in the end game. Like, so, it's not like, here are 4 weapons. Here's 43 weapons. And a bunch of gadgets and everything like that. Go fucking nuts. Let's see what you do. And so people are going crazy with this shit, but like it doesn't feel like a DLC to me. It feels like they really tried to do something different, but they had to do it within the confines of the BF4 engine, which can be oppressive at times. But,
right.
Like they really did try to do something a little different, and so I don't really get the $20 DLC bullshit people throw out there. I'd pay $15 for this if it was add-on for Battlefield 4 because I'm basically retarded. Like, that kind of attitude drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Like, it does feel pretty cool. It's just, I am not willing to put money into a Battlefield title until they actually prove to me that it's going to be stable and playable.
Right.
Someone was saying that they said they're using the most stable build of Battlefield 4 to base this game off of. It's like, that's, when Battlefield 4 was coming out, they were saying, oh, this is going to have the best netcode we ever had in a Battlefield game. And that didn't happen. And, all that other shit that we talked about, like, when this podcast first started. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. That game's about a month away from release. There are some really big security holes. There's a damage hack that's going around. It's pretty prevalent, where people can kill you in one shot. I thought it was just really bad netcode or packet loss or something like that. But then someone confirmed, like, no, that guy kills everyone in one shot because he has a damage hack going on. He does 999 damage per hit.
Yikes.
Yeah. So,
well, I mean, Battlefield 3 was kind of rife with stuff like that well into the game, but it was still, kind of fun. Granted, it wasn't like that blatant, but
yeah. So, yeah, that's my complaints for this week. I figure I'd just throw them all out there.
Pretty solid.
Pretty solid complaints. So, anything else you want to say before we head out?
Not really. It's like the saddest time of the year because it's the longest amount of time before there's more football.
Yep, that's true. I always, you can always watch, like, whatever European football or something like that's out there, I guess.
I won't be doing that.
Oh. Well, just saying. Or you could do what NFL Network decided to show the highlights from all the Super Bowls in reverse orders. So basically, they showed
that would actually probably be kind of neat.
Yeah. They showed all all the 49 ones, including Malcolm Butler's interception that I'll never fucking stop hearing about. Till that motherfucker retires in 4 years, he said. So, I've got 4 more years of that. And if the Patriots don't win again next season, I'll know how it was rigged. So,
well, there you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a good time.
Oh, yeah. Roll Tide.
Every week. Roll Tide, everyone.